well, Pat and John invited me here today because John is actually in my group and completed the program. But Parkinson's Voice Project, they're located out in Richardson, Texas, and they're the only nonprofit organization in the world solely dedicated to helping individuals with Parkinson's preserve their speech and swallowing. Okay. I just wanted to go over their mission statement and then we're going to talk about the program. So their mission statement is to preserve the voices of individuals with Parkinson's and related neurological disorders through intensive speech therapy, follow-up, support, research, education, and community awareness. All right, before I start talking about Speak Out Loud Crowd, I know we have John, but is there anyone else that has completed Speak Out Loud Crowd here?
We did some. I did some.
Okay, so you mean you started Speak Out?
Yeah, I'm done with it now, but I did about 5 sessions.
Okay, it's supposed to be 12. Was it interrupted due to the pandemic maybe?
No,
No.
he had vocal cord surgery.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yeah.
I understand.
I did Speak Out and a Loud Crowd.
Okay, I can't see everybody, but someone said that. If you want to say your name, maybe.
Mark.
Mark,
How do I
okay.
think?
I see you now. You have a red collared shirt on.
Yes.
Okay, so you've been,
I found them very interesting for the see here, I'm not thinking of the word again.
it's okay.
The camaraderie I made with my Loud Crowd friends.
Okay, we're going to talk about that actually, so I'm glad you mentioned that. All right, so some of you are familiar, some of you have been through the program, some of you want to learn about it, so we're going to talk about Speak Out Loud Crowd. Okay, so the Parkinson's Voice Project, what we just spoke about, they have developed this program. It's a 2-part therapy program, and it is, as we see on the screen, Speak Out is part 1, and then the Loud Crowd is part 2. And it says next to Speak Out, live with intent. Okay, so you probably can figure out what intent means, okay? But the focus of this program is using the intentional portion of your brain. Now, we talked about how automated movements are affected for people with Parkinson's. That lack of dopamine affects all those automated movements. So like if I said to you, can you go to the fridge, please, for me and get me a drink of water? You'd get up and you'd walk to the refrigerator. If I put shapes on the floor and then I said to you, can you please go get me a drink of water from the refrigerator? But on your way, you have to step on a square every time with every step you take. That's not automatic anymore. That becomes intentional. You can't just get up and walk without looking and stepping on each square. Right? You have to really think about every single movement and be intentional. And being intentional, we don't need to use the automatic part of our brain. So we could bypass that. We don't need dopamine for that. And we use the intentional portion of our brain. Okay, so if you think about it, you dribble a basketball, right? Anyone could dribble a basketball and not think about it. It's automatic. But I said, okay, you need to take a shot now. You can't just throw it automatically and it's going to go in. You have to be intentional. You have to focus. You have to look at the backboard and throw the ball. That's using the intentional part of your brain. So Speak Out and Loud Crowd teaches us to live with intent, speak with intent, and use intention. Okay, so another example, I have another patient in my group and she was in the hospital and needed to get an MRI. And she told me that, you know, the radiologist could not understand me and she was getting frustrated and she just said, you know what, I said it with intent. And when she thought about it and knew what she wanted to say and was really focused, and then the radiologist was like, wow, now I get it. Okay, now I understand you. So really thinking about it and concentrating. So being purposeful, being deliberate, right? Ignoring what feels natural or normal, saying it like you mean it. These are all, you know, that's what intent means. And that's what Speak Out teaches us to do and to help us improve our speech intelligibility. Okay, so those are all the things that we teach and Speak Out. Let's see. So And the loud crowd is after we complete speak out, you move to the loud crowd. So we're going to talk about each component right now and get a little bit more specific about the program. Okay, so Parkinson's Voice Projects Therapy Program. So this is the hierarchy and the order of how it goes. So I'm going to just break it down and talk about each category, each step of the way. So we start off with a speech evaluation because we want to make sure that you're a good candidate for the program. It is a commitment to do the program. It's something that when you decide if the program is right for you and you want to invest the time into it, that you promise to be committed to it and to follow through and be consistent. So the first step is a speech evaluation. So an evaluation is done by a speech pathologist who is trained in speak out and loud crowd. And there are speech pathologists all over the country who are trained in speak out therapy. That's one of the things, that we do. We have to go through a 10-hour training program. So let's say you live in New York and then you decide, I'm going to move to California. It would be very easy for you to continue the program because we would find you a therapist in California who provided the speak out and loud crowd therapy, and it would be the same exact program. You wouldn't have to worry about learning anything different. It's all consistent. We use the same materials, and there would not be a change. So that's one of the great things about the program is that it's offered all over the country. In I think almost all 50 states, we have therapists and loud crowds, and we have a ton of therapists in Puerto Rico as well. So when you come for a speech evaluation, what to expect. So when you come for an evaluation, we do some pre-treatment audio and video recordings. Okay, so what we like to do, remember when I said, a lot of patients, they think, my spouse just can't hear me, they need a hearing aid. We record you, so then we play it back so then you could hear it. And you could be like, maybe I'm not so intelligible. So we obtain recordings. We evaluate speech and voice characteristics and assess them. So your volume, your breath support. For speech, your vocal quality, your articulation, so how you produce sounds and words, and prosody. We talked about that pitch, that inflection. We do some stimulability testing to determine if the patient would benefit from speak out, because we wouldn't want anyone coming to the program who we didn't think would be a good candidate. Okay, we want to set everybody up for success. All right, so the next part after the evaluation, we have the Parkinson's information session for patients and families. Now, it's essential for families to understand basic information about Parkinson's and how speech and swallowing can be affected. So during this time, we'll discuss how using intention, like we talked about, thinking about it, can improve communication as well as other motor movements such as walking and writing. We'll also discuss how reduced levels of dopamine affect motivation and drive, and how setting a routine combined with family support is very crucial in managing Parkinson's. So not just speaking with intent, but teaching patients and their families how to live with intent and really think about, thinking about what they're doing and bypassing that automated system. Okay, because that's what we want to do. We don't want to get stuck. We don't need that dopamine to be intentional. All right. Any questions before I start talking about the nitty-gritty now of speak out and loud crowd, about the evaluation or the information session? Okay. So speak out. So what speak out is, that's the first part. So after your evaluation, you'd be scheduled to have individual speech therapy sessions with a speech pathologist. And typically to complete speak out and to graduate from speak out, it's 12 individual therapy sessions. And what we like to do, I know the pandemic makes things a little difficult sometimes, but in the olden days, before the pandemic, we would have our patients come to the clinic 3 times a week for 4 weeks. That was the goal. And consistency is, just because consistency is so important, and we want to get our patients out and get them ready for the loud crowd. So 3 days a week for 4 weeks. We try to do 4 uninterrupted weeks. And I understand that a lot of programs, everything kind of got shook up with COVID. So things are slowly starting to return. And I think more and more therapists are turning to teletherapy, which is a good thing. So it's not, someone's in the waiting room. So it shouldn't, hopefully more programs will be up and running soon. But when you come for speech therapy for the Speak Out portion of the program, we do speech, voice, and cognitive exercises using a special workbook that Parkinson's Voice Project provides to everybody who's receiving Speak Out. And that's another part. One of the great things about Speak Out is that there's no charge for it. And it's a non-for-profit organization, and they rely on donations, and just they have a pay it forward mentality. Just, we're doing something nice for you, you do something nice for somebody else. So it's really wonderful in that way. So everyone receives a book. We follow the exercises that are in the book, and it's very consistent. It's very easy to follow. It's very self-explanatory. And upon graduation from Speak Out, patients transition to the Loud Crowd. All right, so are there any questions about Speak Out? That's the first portion of the program. So coming for one-on-one sessions, doing those exercises. There's reading exercises, there's cognitive exercises. We teach the patients the lingo, how to speak with intent, how to get motivated. No one has any questions? Mark, I know you said that you completed some Speak Out. Is there anything that you wanted to share with the group about your experience?
Yes, unaccustomed as I am to public speaking, I'll tell you what I'm doing. I didn't think I needed it when I first signed up for it. They sweet talked me. They got, attractive speech pathologists like ours to sweet talk me into it. But after I started it, I realized I needed it badly, because my voice was trailing off.
So you were running out of gas.
Yes,
Okay.
it was my breath that was running out.
Yep.
So the speech pathologist pointed that out to me, and ever since I've been trying to speak with my breath, with all the breath I can muster. And it's working, but
Great.
the loud crowd part of it was very enjoyable, because I was in there with other Parkinson people, and we talked and we played games. We had a great time doing it.
Now, you're not currently in a Loud Crowd program?
No, we moved down here to Virginia from New York.
That's
So
right.
I live in Virginia now.
Well, we can definitely get you into a group in Virginia. That's not a problem.
That's cool. Great.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that, because I'm so glad to hear that you had a successful experience. And yeah, like I said, that's the beauty of the program. If you move somewhere, there are a ton of therapists in every state. So, and they're always welcoming to new people who come to the area who need a Loud Crowd. You won't get turned away. You really won't. So it's a wonderful program. And like I said, it's consistent. So you move to Virginia, you'd go to Loud Crowd and you'd know exactly what to do. Nothing would be different. Maybe some of the activities would be a little different. We all change it up every week. We don't want everyone to get bored, but it's really great. And I'm so happy to hear you had a positive experience. I'm assuming you did Speak Out in New York.
Yes, and
Okay.
Loud Crowd, both of them.
Great. All right, so that's the Speak Out portion. Okay, those are those 12 individual sessions. So,
Rachel,
yes,
I have a question. One of my problems is concentration. I lose interest in a conversation if it becomes prolonged and my mind drifts off. And once my mind drifts off, then I also, lose, have a tendency to drift off into a soft sleep type situation. Is this, this is part of, my speech problem, because if I'm sitting and talking with a person and we get it to some, say 20 minutes, I'm not in the conversation any longer.
Well, definitely, we spoke about a little bit earlier about focus, right? And being able to focus and to maintain attention. So that's definitely very common. And that's something that we do work on in speech. We also concentrating and learning how to focus and to increase your stamina to maintain attention. So definitely, and I think we can all say we've all experienced this at one time or another in our lives, where maybe we're not really that interested in the conversation and we kind of drift off. So I think it happens to all of us, but especially in Parkinson's disease. The ability to focus and to kind of trail off sometimes is very common. So that's something that we definitely do address in our speech sessions. All right, so
I had this is Rod Smith. I had I had an operation on my voice box,
Really?
vocal cords.
did you have vocal cord tightening to make them
Yes,
tighter?
I had stents.
Stents put in.
Okay.
It helped me 1,000%.
Were you before the surgery, were your vocal cords very, I'm assuming they were weak and maybe they
They
needed,
were weak and they wouldn't close properly.
they weren't, when we speak, our vocal folds come together. So when there's weakness in the vocal folds, they can't touch each other. So that's probably
Exactly right. That's what was corrected with the surgery.
Okay, that's fantastic.
I used to run out of gas, so to speak, halfway through a word.
Oh,
You know,
I
now
gotta
can-
say, he sounds much better.
How long ago was your surgery?
about
About a year ago.
almost a year, I
A
think.
little over a year ago.
Yeah, well, when you think about it, if you think about the vocal folds, when they're strong, and let's pretend these are the vocal folds, they're strong. When we speak, they come together. But when they're weak,
they make it
And
sound like
somebody's-
a dog.
Somebody's vocal cords are coming together.
yeah, they don't have the strength to produce speech. You're not going to get much sound. I had the opportunity once to see a vocal cord surgery when I was in graduate school. And I don't know if you were awake during your procedure, but during the procedure, I got to see the gentleman was awake because they wanted him to speak as they were working on his vocal cords. Were you awake during your surgery?
Good work.
I'm sorry, I don't, oh, you're on mute, actually.
Our dogs were barking.
Here we go.
That's okay. I was wondering, I said, because I had the opportunity to observe a surgery one time back when I was a graduate student, and they had the gentleman who was being operated on, they had him awake because they wanted him to speak during the surgery.
Yeah, they did that with me too.
They did. Okay. So I was just
Yeah,
curious.
it's a procedure normally performed by an ENT surgeon.
Yeah.
There's
Right.
one guy at the U of R who does a lot of them. It's something that if anybody is running out of gas, I'm a little hoarse now. Occasionally I get hoarse due to, I think it's factors other than Parkinson's.
Well, your voice does sound, if you were having so much trouble before, I'm not having any difficulty understanding you right now.
No, I'm quite a bit louder.
Just speaking group.
In fact, I
Yeah,
can
and
get
when you had the-
louder.
And that's why they want you awake during the procedure, because they can make adjustments while they're doing the surgery to listen to your
Exactly.
speech.
Yeah.
So it's
Exactly.
incredible what they do.
Well, I started out with a doctor who injected
Silicone.
with
It was a trial basis first to see if the surgery would work. So it was a temporary kind of a procedure in the beginning, and it worked. And so then they went ahead and did the final surgery with the stents.
Okay. Well, that's,
So I would highly recommend that with anybody who can't get rid of their running out of gas thing, because running out of gas doesn't work unless you think about it.
Right. Well, you know,
Right.
when we
Yeah.
want to work on increasing our breath support so we don't run out of gas.
And
So,
using your diaphragm.
yep. And we do lots of different exercises in our speak out and loud crowd to help with that. But if your doctor thinks that, you know, obviously you are a candidate for this surgery, which is great, because I'm sure they probably make the criteria pretty difficult to meet. You know, they're not going to just operate on everybody. So if you meet the criteria, that's great. And that you had success is even better. So congratulations with that.
Thank you.
That's great. That's good news. I remember
All right.
meeting the gentleman before I saw his surgery. We couldn't understand anything. He had pretty much no phonation whatsoever. And then as they're operating on his vocal folds and his vocal cords, and they're asking him to speak, it was night and day. So it's incredible.
What was wrong with Jerry?
All right, so moving on to the loud crowd. Now, speak out is lots of fun, but loud crowd is even more fun than speak out. So, since Parkinson's is progressive and degenerative in nature, daily home practice and continuous follow-up is crucial to maintaining the improvements achieved in any kind of therapy. And that's what we talk about during the evaluation too. We say, if you want to do this program, you have to commit to practicing and you have to commit to the program and being consistent. Because if you're going to just stop after speak out and not go to loud crowd, you're going to lose everything that you learned. Just like anything, right? If you're a kid and you want to learn how to play piano, if you take lessons for a couple of weeks, you'll do well. But then if you stop, it's kind of not like getting on a bike. You have to relearn, you have to reteach yourself everything. So it's being committed. So loud crowd is a weekly group session. So a group, meaning everybody in the group has graduated from speak out. Everyone's done those 12 sessions. And we mimic a speak out session, but we do it as a group. So we follow the same exercises that you did in your speak out.
You have to go outdoors?
We do
You go outdoors?
reading exercise, we do a cognitive exercise. So we're doing all of the things, but we just do it together. And we have a great time. So the group setting also provides accountability and education and promotes camaraderie and provides support and encouragement. And in addition to just doing our lessons every week, we spice it up and we have fun. So John Palomacki, who's in our group, we have jokes with John every week because he's our resident comedian. And John tells us 2 jokes every week. So after we complete our exercises, we take like a 2-minute break. Everyone has some water and John tells us jokes. Some weeks, we do different word games. We do trivia. We do, oh my goodness. What do we do, John? Tell me one of your favorite activities that we've done. Oh, he's getting his hearing aid in.
No.
Yeah.
Putting his mask on.
Oh.
No, you
have to put the light on, Pat. We can't see much. You're too dark.
better?
So can everyone see John's mask?
No.
No.
It says speak with intent. So my coworker, Jesse, and I, we bought these for our Loud Crowd members for the holidays this year. This was the holiday gift. And because that's our mantra, right, John? We speak with intent.
Right.
So
It is.
that's what we do. But we do jokes with John. We do, we have lots of different, we do so much. We have a lot of fun. But one of the things is that we are kind of like a support group in a way. I know you have your support group, but this is like a weekly group, and we share. Someone says, "I'm not feeling so great today." Everyone gets it. Everyone understands. Everyone can commiserate with one another. We had 2 of our patients have DBS surgery. If everyone's familiar with that, the deep brain stimulation. So we have someone else in our group who's in the process of maybe getting an evaluation for it. So we've had discussions about that. We talk about all different topics related to Parkinson's. We've talked a lot about swallowing and saliva management. In addition to doing our loud crowd activities, we talk about our families, we talk about the holidays. We're all very good friends, and we all have that one thing in common, where we all have Parkinson's and we've all been through the program. So everyone is on the same page, but it's,
Well, it's fun because I can hear them in the next room.
we know how to party, right, John? John, I can't hear you. Come on.
You know how to party, right?
Yeah,
Say it
No.
like you mean it.
yes, we do.
Good.
There you
All
go.
right. So again, that this is something we talk about when you come for your evaluation is that, yes, I will commit to coming to Loud Crowd Weekly. And my group started, we had a group at Nazareth, and then there were about 12 people in it. It got a little too crowded. So we started another group, which is my group. And I had one person in my group, and then I grew to like 4, and now we're up to 12. So we actually grew during the pandemic, where lots of groups just flopped. And we went right, we didn't skip a beat, right, John? I said, we missed maybe 1 week, and then we were up and running online the next week when the whole world shut down due to the pandemic. We were up online immediately, and we constantly got new people, because I know the group in Canandaigua, I don't think they went online. So it was hard to find groups for online therapy. But typically, we would meet in person at Nazareth every Monday. That was our time, and everyone would come in person. When you come to a Loud Crowd session, we'd have the table set up so there'd be a workbook in front of everybody, so everybody could follow along with the workbook. It's the same book that you have at home and do practice with, so it's very consistent. Everyone gets a bottle of water. We take lots of water breaks. We encourage drinking water, because that helps us also become more intelligible with our speech.
Yeah.
But we were able to move on to Zoom just like we are right now. And this is how we're doing Loud Crowd. And it's been very successful. So everyone's got a water next to them, and we do occasional toasts. We toast to something different every week. All right, so let's keep going.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
Are you able to take any more people in your group? My husband, Alan, has done those groups when we were in Canandaigua, but now we're in the Virgin Islands. We'd love to do it remotely if we could.
Okay, well, that's the thing. I can find out if there are any in the Virgin Islands, because technically, to provide therapy online, the therapist has to be licensed in that location where you are. So like, I know Ellie, you said you were in Virginia. So technically you need to go to a group based in Virginia. The laws are kind of weird. You would think if you held a license in one state, you could practice anywhere, but they like to make it difficult for us. And they want to make sure that you're licensed in the state where you're providing the therapy. So technically, in the Virgin Islands, you wouldn't really be able to come to my group, because I'm not licensed to provide therapy in the Virgin Islands, but I can look online, and there's also the website I'm going to share with you all that has every state and all the providers, but I could definitely try to help you out. So definitely, but that's the thing, if you move, that's why we could say, oh, we'll find you someone locally. So if any of you are in Pennsylvania or in South Carolina, you can come to my group, because I am licensed in those states as well. So I'm fortunate enough to have 3 licenses, but hopefully they're going to change the rules soon to make it that if you're a licensed therapist in any state, that you could provide therapy, but they just don't do it that way right now.
Yes,
I did want to talk about some of the local providers in the Rochester and Buffalo area, so that have Loud Crowd and Speak Out. So Nazareth College, obviously where I am, URMC does Speak Out and Loud Crowd, Thompson Health, Lifetime Care, and University of Buffalo. So these are some of the local providers. And what I'll do is I can email everybody all of these slides, so you don't feel like you have to write down all this information. You'll get a copy of these, which is no problem at all. But these are some of the local areas that have. And right now we have about 12 in our group, and I think that's the cutoff right now. But I did speak with our clinic director, and I said if we have more and more people coming, that we would start another group, because once you get past 12 people, it's too many people, especially online with all the microphones going at the same time. So we streamline it a bit online. We've changed it up just a little bit. So, the whole point of Loud Crowd is to practice the exercises out loud together. But as you can imagine, on a Zoom call with 12 microphones interfering with one another, it turns into a disaster sometimes.
Kind of like a
So-
CNN report.
Yeah, we've modified it a little bit for Zoom. So we don't hear screechy microphones and 12 people speaking at different times. Obviously in person, it's a little bit easier to control that, and we could all stay together because we can all look at each other, but on the screen, you don't know who you're looking at. It's very difficult. So we've made some modifications, but I did want to share with you the local areas. And also I have the website on here. It's parkinsonvoiceproject.org/providers. And that'll take you to the site where every state, you type in your zip code and it'll give you a provider within a certain mile radius. But again, don't feel like you have to write this all down because everyone will get a copy of this. All right, anyone have any questions about the local area? All
Do you
right.
think that after this COVID is over, that you're going to go back to live sessions? Are you going to keep, since Zoom has been so successful, are you going to keep that up?
Well, that's what we're talking about now at the college, because I said, you know, we have somebody in our group from Dundee, New York. It's like an hour and a half away.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't want to lose that person. So I was thinking maybe we could have an online group and also have have our in-person groups. And if anyone, because I have people in the group now that live far away and I wouldn't want to lose them. So maybe, talking about having a virtual group. I think many places now it's going to be the new norm is to have virtual therapy. I think Nazareth will always have a virtual component. And I know a lot of other places too. Even with schools, I feel like the public school systems, they're going to always have to have a virtual component right now. It's just become the way of life. So I know we do want to get back in person because there's nothing like in person. But obviously, if we can I know we do want to keep the online therapy going as well. So I'm sure we'll still have a virtual group for people who live too far away to come to the clinic.
Where is the Lifetime Care located geographically?
That's a good question. I don't know where they held their specific in-person sessions. that's a question that I will write down and get back to everybody about. Because now online, it's different. It's just you click on a website, but I will find out where they did their physical loud crowd and I can let you know. But I know University of Buffalo, it's like a university clinic like at Rochester at Nazareth College, where you would go to the on-campus speech and language clinic, and that's where they hold their sessions. URMC, they do it there as well in person. And I know Thompson Health, is that the one you were at, Ellie, and your husband?
Right at the hospital.
It's right at the hospital.
Yeah, that's what I figured. So let me find out about Lifetime Care because they're through RGH right now, Lifetime Care. And RGH can combine. So now Lifetime is now part of RGH.
We started out with Lifetime Care because John was hospitalized and the insurance company sent someone the speech therapist to our house and he started it at home. And then when he finished the speak out, they referred us to Nazareth.
That's great. Yeah, we get a lot of referrals, especially from U of R, RGH, people that have completed speak out somewhere else and then say, hey, we need a loud crowd. We have really. So again, everyone can keep the same speak out no matter where you complete it. So same information. So you could go anywhere for loud crowd. And now that we're online, it does make it a little bit easier. I'll have to admit, I enjoy the in-person a little bit more just because I like seeing everybody in person, but it's definitely, we're very lucky that we've had the ability to be online. Because I know some groups I think maybe they were a little bit scared of it to go online and think it wasn't going to work, but we've made it work. And we turned our whole clinic into a virtual clinic right now. So not just our speak out and loud crowd, but our stroke patients that come in and other patients that come in with for speech therapy, everything is online right now because it's just too risky. The college doesn't want to take any chances of anyone getting sick, obviously. So we're not seeing anyone in person, maybe this summer, the fall, but not for the spring. So we're going to be right here on Zoom. All right, so this is actually a picture of my loud crowd. I asked them all if I could use it so you could get an idea of what we look like. So this is my group right now. This is actually a full house picture. So there's all of us are in the group, and here's John at the top left corner. Everyone knows John Palamaki. So this is my crew, and we meet every Monday at 2 o'clock. So everyone here has completed Speak Out, and we're all in the loud crowd, and actually not many of the people in my group completed Speak Out at Nazareth. They all completed it somewhere else. So it really doesn't matter where you complete the Speak Out. All right. So once you've been in the loud crowd for 6 weeks and you graduated, we don't leave you alone. We make you come back for more. We want you to come back for a follow-up. So we have something called the 6-week follow-up. And what it is, it's just a check-in. So the Speak Out exercises are reviewed, and we help you come up with a daily home practice routine. If you're not practicing, you're supposed to practice every day. And I know realistically that doesn't happen all the time. Sometimes we get busy, or if you're not feeling so hot, you don't want to practice, but it's really important. There's 6 components in every lesson that you practice all 6 components. It should take about 15 minutes a day. I could tell you right now, nobody in my loud crowd does it every day, even though I hound them all the time that how important it is. And we talk about the transition to the loud crowd. How's it going? You know, and honestly, there's been times where people have been in groups and maybe it wasn't the best fit. It wasn't the best fit for loud crowd. The people, maybe you don't always mesh with everybody, or it just might not have been a good fit. We had someone once just cognitively who wasn't at the level of everybody else, who struggled to keep up. So we found a different group for that person where there were more people at his level cognitively. So just because you go to a loud crowd doesn't mean you have to stick there for some reason. If it's not working out for some reason, if for the group, maybe it's too big, you know, and you do better in a smaller group, you know, you're not stuck. So don't think you're stuck in that group. We could always try to find another group for you locally if for some reason you're not happy. But I'm sure you will be, because everyone loves it. All right, so practice, practice, practice. So daily practice, all 6 components. So there's a couple of exercises you do, there's some reading, and then there's some cognitive practice that you will do. And you follow it along in the workbook. You don't have to think about anything, you just follow the workbook. We have Speak Out refreshers. So sometimes after someone's been in loud crowd for a while, they finished Speak Out a couple years ago, we say, hey, why don't you come back for a refresher? So that's just coming back and just doing some of those individual sessions with the speech pathologist, just to give you a refresher. We all need a refresher sometimes. So that's part of the program too. And we've had many, you know, we're a student-based clinic. So we're having students that are learning the Speak Out program. So we'll say, hey, we want this, you know, we need a volunteer who wants to do a refresher, you know, just so this student can get the experience. So it's nice. So people get refreshers all the time. And it's just a nice way to go back and have some of that one-to-one speech therapy again, while you're still doing loud crowd. So you would never, you know, we don't take you out of loud crowd. You still get loud crowd. And then every day, you do not need a Facebook account, but the Parkinson'S Voice Project, they do live practices every day. You can log in. There's a link. It's on the website. I can get it to everybody. And you can practice with the people at Parkinson'S Voice Project. They hold a session every single day. It's Central Time, so they are an hour behind us. And they also do practice on YouTube. And I think that was it. It was YouTube and Facebook. So you don't need an account. Don't think you need to have social media, but anyone could log in and do the practice with someone live. So if you don't feel motivated to sit and do with the book and do it yourself, hop on your computer and you can do it with Samantha. She's the founder of the Parkinson'S Voice Project. So it's pretty neat that they do that every day. All right. Now I just wanted to run through a couple tips for communicating with people who have Parkinson's. So all of you here have a connection to someone with Parkinson's. So again, you know, this is geared for the Parkinson's patients and for family members or friends who may not know, how do I communicate with someone who has Parkinson's? And a lot of these I feel like have to do with anyone with a communication impairment. So you want to minimize distraction and background noise. Maintaining eye contact is so important. And that's hard sometimes on Zoom when there's multiple people because you don't know who's looking at you. And asking for repetition and clarification if needed. The worst thing you can do is pretend to understand someone if you don't, because that's doing them a disservice, because you're making them believe that you understand, and it's not good. So ask for clarification. Don't be embarrassed. Don't think you're going to make the person feel bad. They want to know if they can't be understood.
I second that
Yeah.
thing.
I'm glad you agree. And I'm not afraid in my group. I have a buzzer. Ask John. I have a siren and another buzzer that says speak out. And if I can't understand you, I hit the buzzer. I say, it says speak out. Where's my button? Here is it. Here. Oh. Okay. So I remind you to speak out. Okay. Or I hit the buzzer when you're not speaking with enough intent. So again, it's fun. It's not meant to embarrass anyone. We all have fun with it and joke, but we are all in the same ballpark together. But yes, asking for repetition and clarification is very important. And I make sure I do that all the time. I'll say, you know what? I didn't quite catch that. Can you say it one more time like you mean it? Be purposeful, be deliberate, ignore what feels natural or normal, be intentional.
Right on.
And that usually works. All right. So one of the people in my loud crowd actually wanted me to include this. It's recommended reading. And this is Dr. Dorsey. He's a professor of neurology at U of R Medical Center. And this is a book that he wrote. And he's finding it very helpful. And he wanted me to share it with all of you.
That's wonderful.
So again, you'll get a copy of all of this, so you don't have to write it down. But he wanted me to make sure I shared this information with all of you. I actually would like to read it too. So, but he is local and
He's pretty well known to us.
yeah, I'm sure.
He has spoken for us.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful. Local celebrity.
There's another speak out thing I'd just like to bring up for a second. My husband was the first, who's no longer with us, was the first person who did speak out at Thompson. So he was the poster child for Thompson. But anyway, as a result, and I had heard of Speak Out prior to that at the World Parkinson Coalition meeting in 2016 in Portland. And I was really impressed with everyone who was there, who had gone through the program, and they spoke so beautifully. So we've been donating to them. And I just wanted everybody to know, if you donate to Speak Out, you get a phone call from somebody who has Parkinson's, who has gone through the program, and you can have a lovely conversation with them about what your thoughts are, what their thoughts are, etc. And then you also get the letter for your taxes. But I think the idea of the personal interaction is really, it's right on.
It is. That was so nice. I'm so glad you shared that, because they are a very personable organization.
They are. Yep.
Everyone's on a first name basis with Samantha, who is the founder, and she's the founder of Speak Out and Loud Crowd. And like I said, every day she puts herself out there live on Facebook because she wants to make sure everyone's practicing, and she leads those sessions. And if it's not her one day, then it's one of the speech pathologists that works for her at the Parkinson's Voice Project. I actually met her and one of the loud crowds that they hold at the Parkinson's Voice Project in Texas. We have a convention every year, the American Speech and Hearing Association, and they came to speak, and they had their whole loud crowd was there, and Samantha was there, and they actually led a session, and other therapists got to ask questions. And I remember asking a question. I wanted to know what some of their favorite activities were. I said, because I'm always looking for new activities for my group. What are some of your favorites? And they just, they made it fun, and they wanted to make sure everyone was happy and make sure that everyone felt welcome. And again, they're just a pay it forward organization. So as long as they just want you to do, you don't even have to make a donation if you can. If just doing something nice for somebody else is all that really matters.
Yeah. And then you get Speak Out, you all, and Live with Intent, the things to bring home. And you can put both of those in your, you can use both of those even if you don't have Parkinson's. Exactly.
And then if you get a cool therapist like me, you get a mask that says Speak with Intent. So yeah, it's a really wonderful program. It's successful, but you have to be committed and you have to practice and you have to come every week. And I'm really lucky. I have to say that with my group, our attendance is usually almost 100% almost every week, unless someone has like a doctor appointment or, you know, obviously a health, if they're not feeling well, but we have very good attendance and everyone is just motivated and happy to be there. And as long as we make it fun and exciting, everyone comes back. So that's my goal, is to make it fun and exciting and teach my students how to make it fun and exciting for everybody.
Rachel,
Yes.
this is Gail. And you mentioned a couple of times about you're going to email all of us your whole presentation or
Yes.
the slides. Okay. So that, because what I'd like to do is be able to put that on our website. So when people go to the website and they can pop up this presentation.
Okay.
Because our group is, I mean, it's only 19, 20 people here today, and our group is much larger. And I thought this would be a good idea. So as long as I get it, I can then put it on the website.
Okay, so what I'll do is at the end, I'll just grab your email. I'll make sure I have it. And then, and I'm going to share my email as well. So if anyone wants to email me individually, they can.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. So these are just some references. Again, I listed some references that I used for information for this talk today. And here's my email. So if anyone would like to email me, it's just rbress5@naz.edu. And again, this will be on the website. I'll post it. All the slides will be there. And if anyone wanted to look at the Parkinson Voice Project website, it's just parkinsonvoiceproject.org. It's not Parkinson's, it's parkinsonvoiceproject.org. And there's a section for families and for potential patients for the program. So you could browse around on there. There's some videos if you wanted to see more. But today I just wanted to give you a general idea about the program, what to expect, the hierarchy from the evaluation all the way down to loud crowd and practicing.
That's good.
So
Thank you a lot.
you're
This has been
welcome.
very-
Thank you, Rachel.
Yeah, it was great.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Rachel.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. I know these are some crazy times, so I'm so glad that we're able to still do these things and continue life. Because I was saying to somebody, I said, if this pandemic happened in 1985, could you imagine what would happen? Oh my goodness. Like I just, you know, my son is in high school, so he's a freshman, he's a 9th grader at Sutherland High School. And, you know, it's not fun to start high school in a pandemic like this. You know, he's home today. It's a homeschool day. You know, who never ever thought that I'd be home, you know, my kid would be homeschooled. It's just, it's unbelievable, but it's just, you know, if we didn't have the technology, we really would be lost. We would be lost because the kids wouldn't be able to have school. And excuse me,
we have a 5-year-old grandson who's starting kindergarten virtually, which, you know, it's so hard to imagine doing kindergarten without interacting with the other children.
Oh, I know. It's awful. There's no activities for the kids. They're not socializing. They're not getting those experiences of doing, you know, after school academic clubs and activities, being able to even play a sport or just see another human being in person. You know, my son's also an only child, so it's just him, and it could get boring sometimes. So again, but we're lucky we have this, because without the technology, we would really be stuck. So I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful that we were able to continue our program at Nazareth. If anybody wants more information, not even just about Speak Out in Loud Crowd, but if just speech therapy in general about coming to Nazareth, please, you know, please reach out anytime, send me an email. Be happy to chat with you. We provide great services. Even all of our therapy is provided by students, but the students are supervised 100% of the time. I actually have 2 of my students here today with us. So if anybody wants to ask a question to my students, they can. they're wonderful, and they, you know, I feel like sometimes when you're getting therapy from a student, they're trying so hard and they're learning, it's probably better quality than someone maybe who's been at this a much longer time. So I'm a big advocate for the students.
Rachel, if somebody wanted to sign up for an online Speak Out program, would I, for example, just go to Lifetime Care?
So what happens though, you don't just sign up, so you'd have to contact the program and we'd schedule an evaluation to make sure that, remember, to make sure that the person would be a good candidate for the program. So again, I'm not sure how they're doing evaluations right now on Zoom, or if they're having people come in person with masks on. I'm not sure how that part's working, but yeah, you would call the potential center where you'd want to go and tell them you're interested, you have Parkinson's and you're interested in the Speak Out and Loud Crowd program, and they would probably tell you whatever their procedures are at the current time. What I could do is, I wanted to pull up real quick the website with the provider page so everybody could see it. So let me figure out how to get out of this for 1 second. And now give me 1 second and I will go to the website and I'll show everybody. Okay. It's loading, 1 second. All right, so I'm going to share my screen again so everybody can see. Okay, so everyone should see this is the Parkinson Voice Project website. So patients and families, right up at the top, find a Speak Out provider. Okay, so right here, you would go to whatever state you were looking in. Now I know someone said Virgin Islands before. I gotta see if we're on, if it says Virgin Islands, let's see if there's anybody in the Virgin Islands. I'm not gonna, whoops. What, hold on, let me try that again. Virgin Islands.
Can't.
Okay.
You're just seeing her screen. You can't.
Search providers. I don't think there's anyone listed right now, but we could call the Parkinson's Voice Project as well too, to make sure this is the most up to date. But let's say New York. So if we go to New York and we'll put in, why is my screen is going crazy? I don't know what's happening. I put in my zip code. So
Yeah, 63.
Local zip code. So now you could see U of R Medicine, Nazareth College. There are a couple private practices perhaps in the area. A lot of it, we're all listed individually under Nazareth. The Jewish Home of Rochester, U of R Medicine Voice Center. What else? Let's see. Oh, it looks like Monroe Community Hospital has a program.
Lifetime Care.
Here's Lifetime Care. So you just go right on the website and you could scroll and look all around, but I'll find out for you where the Lifetime program is, because Jesse who runs our other
telling
group.
you there.
No, I know, but I think right now it might be different because of the pandemic.
Oh, okay.
That's the only thing, yeah. Because I'm not sure if they're doing an online group right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. So, but it's pretty easy. You can go, you just type in the state and it'll tell you the closest provider.
Wonderful.
And once they change the rules and they allow speech pathologists to serve anyone anywhere, then it won't even matter, because you could go anywhere, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be in your state. So that's this is the provider website. So you just go right up to the top where it says patients and families and find a Speak Out provider. All right.
Okay.
Great.
I'll bring that group back up.
I don't know. That grid thing right there.
Yeah, I thought I was running out of breath because I was wearing a mask. Didn't know it was Parkinson'S.
Alexis, for all her help in putting this together too today and working with you.
Yes, thank you, Alexis. She's got her mask on.
You're welcome. Let's see.
Let's see. Oh, yeah. Rachel, did you want my email? This is Gail.
Sure. Yes, that would be great.
That I can put that in on the website. Lowercase G
Slide.
SH.
Oh, can you start? I'm sorry. Can you start again, or do you want to type it in the chat box?
I can do that.
Okay.
I didn't know you'd get that. Okay.
Yeah, I just throw it in the chat box and then it's typed and I don't have to worry about not hearing you correctly.
Make sure I got it right.
Hey there, Jose. Good to see you.
What's going on? How are you?
How do I send it?
Fine, thanks.
Let's see.
So
It should say, I think you just hit enter or
Yep.
return on your computer.
you should just be able
Got
to
it.
enter.
Let's see.
I just,
Oh, I see it. I got it.
okay,
I
thank
got
you.
it. Perfect. All right. So, well, I know we know like John Palamacki is here, and actually, if I hope it's okay if I say something, but Jim is here. He's also in my Loud Crowd group. So I have two of my Loud Crowd members here today. So if anyone has any questions that they want to ask maybe one of our Loud Crowd members, I'm sure they wouldn't mind answering for you. If anyone wants to ask Jim or John a question. Anything pop up? So Jim and John, you're off the hook unless you want to say something. Jim is our actually, we call him the caboose in our group because he was my 12th member who joined us. So we nicknamed him the caboose of our group.
Well, thank you so much for being here today. It's wonderful.
Yes, thank you for inviting me. I really, I had a lot of fun and it was fun preparing the materials. And I hope everyone, learned something today. It just,
Absolutely.
I know some of it might have been review for some of you, but I wanted to just make sure I covered all bases. And now that you have a better idea and understanding of what Speak Out and Loud Crowd is and what it entails and how it works.
Yes, very good.
Great.
Thank
All right. I'm just copying down your email address real quick before everyone goes.
Okay.
Okay. Got it.
Wonderful.
All right. All right. Well, please email me, everyone, if you would like. Again, it's Bress, BRESS 5 @naz.edu. And Gail I'll make sure Gail has that as well. So when she posts the slides, even though it's on the slides, maybe she could post my email there too. So it's easy access.
That would be great.
Okay. Session.
It was a very good session.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Absolutely.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel.
Have a good day, Rachel.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Steering committee, we're going to see you next week, right?
Yep.
Yep.
All right.
I need to know if yelling at the television is part of loud exercise. Loud crowd.
Of course.
Mike.
Only for political ads.
Yes. Mike, how is Ann doing?
Ann's right here. I'll get her in the picture.
I got the birthday boy next to me.
Hi, Jack.
Hi.
Happy birthday, Jack.
Happy birthday, Jack.
Thank you. Thank you.
Happy birthday.
I robbed the cradle. He's actually 2 years younger than I am.
Well, you hooked a good one.
I think so. Well, we're going to scooch because we haven't had much lunch yet today, and I think we both need to eat something. I'll be connecting with the steering committee, okay?
You got it.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, good seeing you.
Bye.
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 Pat? Oop.
She's
Which
still-
Pat, how you doing?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, still muddling through all the financial paperwork and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That'll come to a close sometime soon. It's
I
just a
have-
lot of nonsense, huh?
I wanted to mention that my older sister, who's 3 years older than me, she died on December 6th,
Mhm.
and the doctor listed as her cause of death end-stage Parkinson's.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't hear that very often.
No. Well, what's interesting about John's, I don't know who they gave it to, but they said the cause of death was dementia. Well, nobody dies of dementia. You die with it. And for him, it was not appropriate. So luckily, Rini Ryan, who runs Bridges of Mendon, took care of that quickly. But they put down failure to thrive, which in his
Yeah.
case was appropriate. Yeah.
Right, that's much more appropriate.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And there was no dementia mentioned at all. But it said with Parkinson's disease was the secondary part of it. But anybody who writes, who they need training in the verbiage they should put on things. But the death certificate had come to the funeral home, and the funeral director gave it to me, and I said, "Well, I'll take care of this now." And it was fixed in like a nanosecond.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. So his ashes are still at the funeral home because he will be in a niche at Woodlawn Cemetery in Canandaigua, but they're new. And so the niche needs to be engraved. And I don't want to put him in an unmarked grave. You know, I don't think that that's a safe thing to do.
No.
So once that's taken care of, then we will put him to rest. And sometime when the weather's better and COVID's not as critical, we'll have a celebration, because there are lots of stories, and there are people he worked with and people he knows here and that sort of thing, that they'll have fun things that they can share. So
Well, there were so many things that I didn't know about him when I read his tribute.
oh yeah. Yeah, a lot of things. And it's
Yeah.
interesting because as he was always the same, and you don't realize that until people help you understand it. Because I knew him for half his life and half mine, but he had a whole life before I met him. And then he had, he had his childhood friends, etc. But one of the things that came through was my nephew, who's now 49, first met him when he was 12. And John was trading in a car. And so BJ was started to give John some advice on dealing with the car issue. And John treated him as if he was an adult and went away. They went their separate ways. And the next time they saw each other, John sought BJ out and filled him in on what he did that BJ had recommended.
Yeah, cool.
And so this many years later, I get this lovely description of that, which I thought was really neat.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there was the classmate from vet school that had called him, and I called the man to tell him, and he cried.
Yeah.
And that's a long time ago too. So,
Yeah.
you know, there are just a lot of interesting things.
Well,
Yeah.
the Historical Society article was wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. Paul Hudson did a fabulous job with that. Yeah.
That's great.
And he really captured the person. I mean, he captured the guy that you all knew. Yeah. Which
Well,
was
very
great.
sorry for your loss.
I mean, well, it was time though.
Our loss,
He,
too.
yeah, it was time. He had just wasted to some degree.
And that's very sad to watch.
Yeah, well, he also had an aortic stenosis, which may in fact have been the cause, because that and Parkinson's together are not a good thing.
No.
And I just put the two things together in more recent time. He was not a candidate for surgery. He might have been if we had done this sooner. But the aortic, he wasn't getting enough blood, you know, from his heart to keep things going.
Right.
And at the end, he was short of breath. So it may have been that triggered it really, but it doesn't matter. But it was time. He knew it was time.
Yeah.
And but I miss him. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
We all-
so do the folks at Bridges. They still miss him,
Yeah.
which is pretty neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good place for him to be. They did some nice things to make him comfortable.
Well,
No.
take care of yourself.
I hope to get a time to do that soon. I think we should plan to die at the beginning of the year, so then we don't have to worry about income tax, as well as all the other stuff you've got to go through. So
Keep that in mind.
so you go from the trauma to the financial stuff because you've got some stuff you got to make decisions on.
Right.
And then you go immediately
Reality.
into tax season.
Reality snaps back at you real quick.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah, it does. But anyway, yeah, it's good to see you folks.
Yes, I'm
Even though
glad
it's
we were able, wonderful presentation today. I'm glad we were able to get in on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a fine program. It really is. Yeah. We have, Nazareth seems like a really good place to have the care as well. So, yeah,
All right. We'll see you next month.
absolutely. Take care.
All right,
You
we're
too.
headed out.
We'll try.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Bye now.
Bye.
I said leave.